Oh, it looks like
Yep,
you're on
good to
it.
go, Madam Chair.
We are ready? Okay. I'd like to call the order, the City of Saugatuck's Parks and Public Works Committee meeting for November 28th, 2023. Will the planning director please call the roll?
Certainly, Madam Chair, multiple hats here at City Hall sometimes. Chair is absent. Dean? Well, this is an old sheet, isn't it?
Nope.
Oh, no, yes.
Dean, Scott Dean. No. it's not on here.
Yes, she's already updated it. Or no?
Scott's not. Mm-mm.
Yeah, she's got an old sheet here. I'm sorry.
Okay,
So,
that's okay. I think I-
Baldwin, then we'll,
Here.
all right. Young,
Here,
Johnson,
yes, here.
Kimball.
Here.
And Roche.
Here.
All right, you have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Member Cherick is, could not get out of an appointment today. Can I get a motion, please, to excuse his absence?
A motion to excuse Keith Cherick's absence from the meeting.
Motion DeYoung, I'm sorry, motion Johnson, second DeYoung. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda from last meeting?
The
Or
agenda?
move the agenda. In a second?
Sure.
Motion Kimball, second DeYoung. All in favor?
Yes, yes.
Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from 10:24?
Move to approve the minutes of last month. And I will, 10:24. Yep, and I will second that.
Motion Johnson, second Roach. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
We have no guest speaker. Public comments on agenda items only. Do I have anyone in the audience? Do I have a person in the audience who'd like to comment? It's not an agenda item for you today. Okay, no. And anyone online? Seeing none, I'm going to close the first public comment session and we'll move on to review and discussion.
Mhm.
We've got the bike trail update. I believe we have our manager online who is recovering nicely, I presume. And Ryan, if you want to kick us off on that.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Thank you so much,
Oop,
Madam
muted
Chair.
you.
Oh, really?
But one
Can't hear.
wheel.
Yeah, he doesn't look muted.
I think that's for us. We unmute him. Yep,
Try now, Ryan.
there you go. Click on his photo
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
showing.
and
There we go.
Yep. Good?
okay, say something.
Good? No. Better?
No.
No, all the settings are correct. Headphones.
All one of us. This is kind of low tech. Or low stakes, rather.
Right.
I mean, both. Exactly. Low tech, let's.
Can you hear us okay, Ryan?
Oh, boy.
I can, yes.
You can hear
Um,
us.
No, so don't, wait. Click on his photo and I think you can unmute him from up there because
Yeah,
we're in ours.
Yeah, he's not muted.
Hmm.
Let me try a different headset. Can't hear me
It's
though.
not,
Okay, here.
it's
There
not
we
coming
go.
through the
Huh.
TV
There
for
we
some
go.
reason.
We just heard him.
A little bit.
We just heard him.
Well, it's coming through on my computer, not the,
Oh.
for some reason, the.
Hmm.
We've had problems with this on and on.
What's that?
I did make.
Nothing?
Because the thing is, I need him for all the rest of these, so
Yeah.
he's gonna have to figure out how to.
How about now, Ryan? What-
Um,
No.
hello? Hello.
Well,
Did you hear?
I guess we can try the speakers on my computer and see how that goes.
Turn it way up.
Turn this up. here. You talk a little bit, Ryan?
Hello?
Okay, we got Ryan.
If you
Hi,
can-
Ryan. We're gonna do this with you. It's on the computer. Fortunately, we don't have a full house today, so if you wanted to get us updated on the bike trail C2AE, please.
Yeah, certainly. And I'll talk very loud. So can you hear me pretty good? Or should I
Yes.
talk louder? Okay. All right. So the main focus right now for the bike trail is to have the city council enter into what we call a general services agreement. I don't want to bore you with the details, but basically it means that for all the Saugatuck city specific design aspects, which include, and we've talked about this before, but namely they include the pallet sign and how that has to be worked out, and the landscape and hardscape that's involved with that. And the other two elements are the vertical elements of the bridge divider. And then also we have some nuances with some tree replacement. And then also very important is the crossing at Lake Street. And whether or not the city of Saugatuck wants to entertain putting in a traffic signal there, whether seasonal or seasonally actuated, meaning, or do they want to run it year round? But that's important for the design element of the crossing, because if we do put a traffic light in there, we have to design around that element. So right now, the city of Saugatuck, the city council reviewed last night a general services agreement with C2AE to engage them independently just for the city of Saugatuck specific elements. That got bounced back, and the city council would like to just see and respectfully so, a scope of agreement in as far as what exactly C2AE is going to be working on, and then an hourly rate or a schedule of fees. So that has to return to council. And so I'll pause there. Madam Chair, maybe you have something to add.
Yeah, I
Nancy.
wanted to comment on that too, is that is one thing that got, not a lot of pushback, but just that there's not an open item for us to just write whatever check that we need more information from C2A, what the scope of work is going to be. And actually that does make sense. I was comfortable with that, the way that we ended up with that. And I don't see any reason why that would hinder any progress or anything else. So it's just more administrative work to have to bring back to council and not just have we're not able to just execute that agreement on our own. But I think that it shouldn't hinder anything. And it's just more oversight, which is totally fine.
Maybe take just a little longer.
I don't know. I mean,
So,
the only time it would be is to get something before council, but it's not, so 2 weeks, but
Got it.
yeah, I just can't see how that would impact anything as
Okay.
far as the bike trail goes or any of that. Would you agree with that, Mr. Manager?
Yeah, I do agree with that. And then, so in your packet, you do have some information on like some preliminary design aspects to look at. I don't even think it's worth going into today unless you want to touch on it. And Nancy may have a different opinion, but until we engage C2AE independently, I want to spend a lot of time talking about
Okay,
it.
that makes sense.
And then
fine.
just something to pay attention to, also included in the packet. One, we're asking for a Gantt chart, a very specific schedule of, what are the milestones for getting this project across the finish line. So that's something has been asked for and hopefully can be presented at your next meeting. And then just, there have been some concerns from the Friends of the Blue Star Trail and others that we're not on target with meeting our milestones to get our federal grant, our TAP grant, Transportation Alternatives Program grant. That's not the case. C2AE is comfortable with our timeline as it stands now, but the next major, what I would consider major milestone or date is that we do have to have submitted by October of 2024. So basically a little less than a year from now, all of our construction documents that need to be submitted. So seems a long way off, but it's not. But that's just something to keep in mind. That's one of the next major milestones.
Any questions for the manager?
Yep. Hi, Ryan. So I am wondering if, based on the fact that I know we have just these few discussion points for our group to weigh in on, I know it sounds like as far as, the milestones and, moving things forward with council, that there's some questions. is there any benefit to us getting together to understand what we need to be thinking about so that we can be more informed and we aren't holding anything up when it comes to the point where we need to make decisions? And I don't know if this would include Nancy in it, being part of that group to then go walk over and say, okay, these are the things we're looking at. These are the discussion points. And then, because some of this I'm totally uninformed
One
on.
item I want to add is that yesterday, Scott Dean was appointed to be the council representative on the Blue Star Trail group.
Okay.
So we've got both the city managers involved with that. I mean, I like to remove myself from it to the extent possible, where we've got, we've got our PPW representative, we got a council representative, we got the city managers. I feel like that's a good work group, and I'm comfortable with getting updates from that as long as the manager is comfortable with that approach.
Yeah, that's good. And
Uh-oh.
Kelly, to make sure I understand your question, like,
Yep.
do you feel like the Parks and Public Works Committee needs to get together to understand their specific dates to keep within the timeline? What-
Both
yeah.
the timeline, but also the actual requests of what we are going to be weighing in on. So like the pallet sign, the bridge divider, tree placements, the crossing, things like that, that we're going to be asked for our opinion on and to come together as a group. I don't know anything about that yet in terms of, and I know we're waiting for C2AE to get us drawings and things like that. I just don't know if there's anything we can be doing ahead of schedule or right now. So that would be the question. Is there anything that we need to do right now in order to make sure that the other group that's put together can move things forward? I just don't want to be caught on our heels and then be asked this question and say, well, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great question. So once we have the general service agreement in place with the city council, then Parks and Public Works Committee will, what I would love to see is work very heavily on the pallet sign.
Yep.
And the hardscape and landscape that comes along with that. And then the crossing, like the street crossing, the Lake Street crossing, and the potential for a traffic signal there. That's what I call high level engineering. Really don't need the Parks and Public Works Committee to weigh too heavily in on that, because that is like very specific health, safety, and risk stuff that the engineers do. But on the other side of Lake Street, as we cross the bridge, then the Parks and Public Works Committee will be involved heavily in some of the vertical elements, again, to create a separation between the multimodal path and the roadway. So the two elements that Parks and Public Works Committee, which I would recommend that stay focused on, is the pallet sign, landscape, hardscape,
Mhm.
and then the vertical design elements, crossing the bridge. And as far as the crossing itself, again, as I mentioned, with the traffic signal and the alignment of the path that would cross the road at Lake Street, that again, that's like heavy engineering, really geeky stuff.
Brian, to what extent are we looking for? My understanding would be that we would be looking for the Blue Star group to come to us with a recommendation, or are we all going to deliberate at the same time on the pallet sign?
All right, so good question. So what we're recommending right now to C2AE, as it relates to the pallet sign design and shifting of the pallet sign, and however that works out, is that they provide 3 design options, right? Not make it super complicated, but present 3 design options to this group, Parks and Public Works Committee, working in concert with staff, to review that and then ultimately make a recommendation to City Council. So City Council will be the final decider.
And assuming everything goes okay with this general services agreement, Ryan, remember at our last meeting, we talked about that C2AE would come to us with the designs potentially at our January meeting.
Okay.
So
Oh,
that,
that's helpful. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
that
what
is
I thought
helpful.
would be.
Okay.
I think this project, along with some other ones like Mount Baldwin and stuff, I think we all need to be part of this and not just the small group. So what you're saying is we got to make sure our ducks are in a row, but all of us, you know.
I just like, I always want to make sure that we don't have duplication of efforts. What I don't like is when we have a committee and we've asked them to do a task and then we bring it in and then we override everything, you know, so like as long as
I
we're all
don't
brought
feel,
in at the same
I
time.
don't feel that's going to happen with this particular
agree.
project or like with a couple others
Yeah.
going on. I don't
Okay.
think it will be duplicity.
Good. Okay.
The other thing, Brian, if I was going to mention was just this whole crash proof idea. So when the grant was applied for, C2AE did the, you know, the initial design, and they basically just put in there that they were going to do those little plastic separator things, like when you get to Douglas, you know how they look?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we don't think
No,
that's the
that-
most attractive thing in the world,
No.
some of us. And so then the issue came up. This was really from Richard Donovan's, who's on the Friends, you know, his experience with it, you know, previously that MDOT was recommending but not requiring it be crash proof. So that's a question because what they put in the grant design, you know, was these little plastic things. Those are not crash proof. And so we've had C2AE look at what are some crash proof options. They came back with a couple of things. Those are actually some of the pictures that are in the packet.
Okay.
Yeah. But the, you know, the one is just like a concrete little
Very.
wall,
Yeah.
ugly as sin, my opinion. And the other one has like a little metal rail, which, you know,
Right.
looks, in my opinion, okay. But that would be very expensive. And so that's going to be an expense that potentially, you know, might be outside the, you know, what we receive from the grant. So just some things, you know, to be aware of.
But it's going to be a permanent thing though.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So we've got to, that's decision, our decision. I mean, we've got to be able to know that down the road, it's going to be just as beautiful down the road as, you know, like those concrete barriers are not.
Or not.
Yeah.
Correct, right.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, Ryan, you talked about that, really it'd be up to the city of Saugatuck and Douglas, because obviously both are involved because they
Right.
both own the bridge, to decide on this crash proof, you know, requirement. I don't think that's probably our, you know, our
Right.
decision, but,
Right.
you know, just
Right.
so you know.
Okay.
Anything else on bike trail? Okay, we'll move on to item B, the recycling pilot program. I was wanting, these are, I think, all things I requested that I just want updates on from city staff. So, where are we on our recycling pilot program?
Scott Herbert, I think this would be best for you. And you're welcome.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I think it just, we agreed, on some receptacles. I think, Kelly, you and I had worked on that. I think it just comes down to, did anyone order them? I didn't. So, if that's as simple as where we're at, then,
Maybe there's some holiday deals.
maybe there's. So, sorry if I was unclear.
I think there were some questions about whether it had to go to the historic district. Ryan, am I correct on that?
RC would be, I think when it came to the trash, well, maybe the answer is yes. RC,
I recall some pushback from council on some of the council members thought that the colors were,
They didn't love the design.
they didn't love the design, but so then the suggestion was maybe it goes to historic.
Mhm.
Would you think that it would be a requirement to go to historic district for the approval on those?
Yeah, I think we definitely should run it by the Historic District Commission. So if you have a recommended
Okay.
design, I think we have a meeting next Thursday. So I could work with Scott and put that in their meeting
Can we-
packet. So.
Can we put that together outside of our meeting so we can get it into their next meeting, or do we have to wait until our next meeting to put something together and approve it to take to them?
I don't know what your process is with this particular committee. So I mean, whatever this group is fine moving forward to the Historic District Commission in whatever way you would approve that is fine with me. So.
All right, well, let me, because I feel like it could be just even a staff item maybe. So, all right, I'll talk to Ryan about that offline, but it seems to me like it could be a staff item that like, here's the ones that we're presenting or whatever. And let's get that done. What I don't want to do is wait another month for
Yeah.
us to sit here and deliberate, bring in things for us to find and then take that to them and get them to vote. And now we're going to be out 3 months and we've already, you know, this has been 3 months old. So
It's kind of like
But-
the deer crossing sign.
Yeah.
You took charge of it and made a
let's
decision.
see what
Just
happens.
do it.
So, all right, so I'll talk to Ryan H. offline and see if we can get something in
Yeah.
front of the historic district
Yeah.
then. Okay.
Sounds good.
Good.
And one thing that I can say based on feedback in terms of the look of the recycling bins, because remember there is a trash receptacle and then a can and bottle receptacle. That one is blue for
Mhm.
recycling, right? To help create habits. I did contact the company back just to see if we could get the trash receptacle in like a tan or something that is a
Green
little
or
closer,
something.
yeah, to what we have currently. They don't make it in that color.
Okay.
So it's from 100% recycled bottles and made in the US. So they have their set things. And when Scott and I had talked about this, we specifically chose the 54 gallon because of staffing that he doesn't want to have his staff come downtown as much. So there were specific reasons why we chose those. And now we tried to look to find other color variations through this company. This was the one that I found that actually hit all of the
And I
requests
think
through
that we-
DPW. We could not. So I just want to put that out there that further research has been done that not
And then I
possible
think
for
that
in this
that's- And I
particular.
think that that's how we present to
Yeah.
historic. We don't
So-
abandon the idea just because we had a couple council members who didn't necessarily think that they were pretty. Maybe we just
But
see if
feedback is,
historic is
yeah,
fine with it.
feedback is fair.
Yeah,
So I
of
wanted
course.
to make sure that we looked at all options and that
Okay.
in this particular one to make sure we meet the needs of DPW
Okay.
staff, that we couldn't do it.
How
So-
big is a 55?
So that's like your typical, like the metal receptacles that are out at the Oval
Oh,
Beach.
is
That's
that-
55
okay.
gallon drum. Yeah.
Yeah, we have some down that are what, like 35 gallon? And then-
Yeah,
And
uh,
then
and-
those have to be changed over more
No, I get
often,
that.
especially.
I
during
get
That
the
simple
season.
reduction in size made it so that, especially during COVID, when there was a lot of takeout items, we had to do grand place.
Can we, on the area that are not frequented so much, can we do a smaller bin or are we gonna go 55 everywhere to replace them?
I would rather have,
55?
yeah,
Okay.
but it,
Pilot program is in the three days to start.
I know that.
But
And we're
yeah,
having one on the
3
other side,
sets.
right?
It's the
Yes.
3 sets,
Mm.
so it's together because we want to make sure people have an option that you can throw it away, or you can recycle it. And then we'll see
No, I
how
think
much
it's
people
great.
actually use it and how much it changes what's in the trash versus. what's in the
That sounds
thing.
great.
So that was the question.
the good news from Republic is that it seems like their like contamination rate was more generous than what we had anticipated.
Oh.
So if there is a little bit of, obviously we probably wouldn't want to put like a recycle bin in front of Killwinds or something where we're kind of setting ourselves up for that one, but Mount Baldhead Park, for example, great
Mount
location.
Baldhead is
Yeah.
great.
A lot-
We talked Village Square and then what,
Wicks,
in
right?
front of
Drugstore?
drugstore. I
Is that
thought.
what- yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
so those
Yeah.
were like our
That's
3
great.
test spots.
Okay. Perfect. I'll follow up with Ryan on that then separately. Airport property due diligence. This just recently got approved for us to be able to do this with council. And so I don't know if there's any updates on that.
No, it's just good news from city council that they are allowing staff to do the due diligence on that property. And we discussed what some of that due diligence would entail at previous meetings. So good news is that the majority of council is in favor of looking at the property and trying to interconnect trails with the township.
Good.
The stop signs at the suggestion that we could look into those at Campbell and Park as well as Perryman and Park. I don't know if there's been any changes to that. It also was approved at the same meeting as the airport.
Yeah, also good news. Good work, Parks and Public Works Committee. The city council did approve allowing staff working with the engineering firm to look at the stop signs at the intersections that we had discussed.
It is good news.
It is.
I think
good
it's wonderful news.
Great
Yeah.
news.
Getting that, I mean, it always seems like it was easy once it's behind you,
Yeah.
but
it
in the
wasn't
process,
easy.
of course it wasn't easy.
Grateful I don't have to design it.
Well, I'm glad we can help then. The next one is likely for Superintendent Herbert. Is there any updates on the playground, current, decommission or where are we at on that?
Sure, yeah, thanks. Yeah, so we've been pretty heavy at it with like brush and leaf collection and the Christmas lights. And so we had kind of planned on doing the decommissioning sometime December, January. So we're getting close to start looking at that. I did get a call over the weekend from one of the sheriff's deputies that he had there was one of the decking boards that had come loose over the weekend on the playground structure.
Oh.
And so he put caution tape around it. So just further emphasizes the point that we need to get that thing decommissioned as soon as possible.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions for?
I can tell you a little bit more if you'd like, about, a lot of the brackets and hardware used on that playground. It's kind of proprietary for that. I think, Play School, I think was the name of the company that whose equipment it is. So we don't know that we have all the wrenches and everything, to disassemble it, neatly. So we're probably, a lot of it's wooden beams. So we're probably just gonna maybe take a chainsaw to some of it and just cut it off. And so it'll still be salvageable if somebody does want the equipment, but that'll be a burden on them that they're gonna have to try to figure out how to get the right tooling and whatnot to repurpose it somehow. But that's our plan for it.
I think that sounds reasonable. I don't know that I mean, if you're gonna have to take it down the way that you have to take it down, we don't want you to spend an extraordinary amount of time on something that the city itself isn't gonna need anymore. So if someone wants to use it, figure out how to get that done.
Yeah, we'll bring it back
on
to
their
Public
own.
Works and maybe
Yeah.
set an amount of time if somebody wants to come and collect it, great.
Mhm.
We hope that's the case. If not, it'll meet its fate.
Okay.
Can we put that, something like that on our, like,
Our
Facebook
website or
page,
something?
something like
Maybe,
that?
Yeah, some-
Or at least try.
Yeah. It'd be
Yeah, I
nice to
think that's a good
recycle
idea.
something, not to have it go to a landfill if it doesn't have
Exactly,
to.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Tri-Community Parks and Rec Plan. This I know that, well, I'll let Mr. Manager talk about it. We're getting ready do our public notice. And I don't recall the exact days that I know we're gonna align with the township, but if you wouldn't mind saying a few words about that.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So we do have to put out our 30-day public notice before the official adoption of that plan. And so the city is planning on doing that, no pun intended, within the next week. I think Township was December 6th for their launch with their notice. And I think we're trying to hit a February
Didn't hear you.
1.
Can you repeat it?
December 6th, the township plans to launch theirs, I'm pretty sure. But anyways, we have a 30-day public notice period. But everything's been worked out. We got a good response rate and we're feeling pretty confident in the plan.
So is there anything else that we need to do as the steering committee or any of that? That's my impression, and that we are all set then at this point with them, and then we don't have to get any special dispensation from council or anybody. You have the staff ability to do that. Okay, good.
That's
And-
correct.
And did you say when is the draft available for us to read?
I think so December 6th is the target date.
Oh, okay, for the draft. Okay.
Any other questions on this for manager? For myself? All right, we'll go to study group updates. Invasive species, we don't have member chair here. I don't think, is there anything that you know of, Kelly? Okay. We'll move on to airport property. From my perspective, we're well covered as we are. I mean, we've got that through council again, just to restate that we were able to get that passed to be able to do due diligence. Pretty exciting. And so looking forward to the next steps on that.
What's their timeline?
Really just staff just to start due diligence, get contacting the attorneys and what makes sense or whatever. So there's not a specific, Gantt chart or whatever, but I don't think that there's a ton to do there just to get us to start opening it. So I think at the time it's just gonna be as much as we can pressure Ryan to work on it. That's the deal.
Oh, there's a
Does he
smile.
love it? Yeah, exactly. There we go. Any other questions on that? No? Blue Star Multimodal Path, I think we pretty well covered that unless
There was just
Member
one thing
Melissa?
totally unrelated to everything else we said that I thought I'd inform you guys, and that was, you remember how we're waiting for the township to get their DNR grant?
Mhm.
The $300,000, which they had applied for. Well, they got their score back, which was 335. We still don't know if they've got the grant. We'll hopefully know by the end of the year. But last year, the cutoff for points was 350. So hopefully it's a lower cutoff this year. So I'm a little concerned, but that's just where we are.
Good to know. Village Square and Playground. I know we covered playground. I don't think there's anything new with Rest of the village square?
No, there is. Oh, good. So I don't remember the date, but Glenn and I met with Sinclair just to do another walkthrough, just once the, once it was approved, just to see what we might need to be aware of with, as a group and anything that we might need to share. So we walked through it with Jeremy, who's been our rep, and everything was good. I mean, we might need to shift a little bit. This will be something that they work with DPW, but everything is within the constraints. Everything is ordered. Everything looks like it is on time. So all of that was looking good.
Awesome.
Anything else?
No. Do we want to talk about recommendations for signage there and anywhere else where some construction might be happening?
Oh, we do.
We
do. Yes,
we talked
Yes.
Yeah.
Coming soon
And I-
banners and yeah, the
I'm
design.
not a graphic artist for sure, but I just wanted to put some ideas down. To think about.
Seriously, I
She's
know.
like,
Really
really
good
good
idea.
idea.
I'm not a graphic artist, but yeah.
But this is.
You can have one.
Oh, and I love the QR code.
So I looked at the national parks kind of design, right, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
And I wondered if we could, on any signs that we put up, have this little like shield or crest that's over there on the right. Totally open to ideas there. I just put the logo, added parks and trails and a little tree. Of course, you would need a graphic artist to do this, but discover art and play here, or some other, I think if we could come up with a really cool tagline
Mhm.
that could be on everything. And then we talked about, once that playground gets demolished, people are gonna wonder what's happening. And so
Yeah.
if we could have a nice sign up there that says, coming soon or coming spring 2024.
Yeah.
Maybe have a picture of it. We could include QR codes, which could have more information about it. Of course, that means, doing a landing page or something, but it could also be a place for asking for donations. Somehow.
I love it. And I think we absolutely need a banner there. You can't just decommission the playground, and have people, it just looks like a
Yeah,
ghost town.
I agree.
Yeah, we need
That'd be
something
awesome.
nice. Yeah.
I think we should do that with every project we do.
That's what we
Like,
talked about. is-
It's just,
Yeah, it's good. business.
And then
Yeah,
we
I
thought
would-
we could come up with a common design that. then could be
exactly. No, I
used
think it's great because that
everywhere.
Mount Baldhead will need it, you
Yep.
know?
Exactly.
Yeah, I just think.
Yes, so a logo and then a little, tagline.
Mhm.
Something
Great
like
tag.
we looked at what Veritas has done, where it says build your future. So something like that, that's quick and inspirational and lets people
Mhm.
know that their tax dollars are at work and these are the
Like
things that
build
we're
your
working
future.
towards. Yeah.
I would even gank on that one. I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something that appeals to, because I had thought of something like that too, but you could also go the flip side of something that appeals to the tourists. Like that brings them here where we have our.
Well, see, I kind of, like with the discover art and play, I think the artist part of it, because what does bring it here too, as well as the natural and, so I think that's a good word to use too.
Just in conjunction with like the trail that's gonna go through, all three of our communities. We talked about doing signage that would be, uniform, not.
Consistent.
Yeah, so would we want something different for, things that are city only? Or do we want to basically I just wanted you to be aware that we talked about, having something that was kind of a tri-community, I guess, signage versus just ours. So.
Yeah. And that is in the 5-year plan.
Yeah.
So as far as what we've been working on as a steering committee too.
I
is
think the
trying
banner is a
to-
little less like lower stakes than the
I
official signage.
totally
Yeah.
agree, but yeah, just to get that out there.
Sure.
This seems like something that, we shouldn't spend a whole lot of time on.
Right,
Let's just
right.
Get it
That's
done
my
because
point,
we need
like
to
low
put that-
stakes
that
and
sign
especially
there.
if we're gonna be decommissioning that and it could be a couple of weeks.
It could
instead
be
of December.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
exactly. Depending on how the snow goes.
Yeah.
I think that, Ryan, could we, can city just order a banner or do we need to go through any kind of formality or do I need to apply maybe to council for a banner approval to put in in the park or how do we go about that?
Heck, yeah, you gotta apply for everything
Alright,
around
I'll
here.
apply.
And
I'll
then,
take your
yeah, and the Historic District
Okay.
Commission, I don't know, if they have to weigh in on that and or not,
So the application goes to the historic district, not to council.
perhaps,
Okay.
Right.
RC's here.
He covers himself.
The other
I wanna-
piece of that is Kelly and I are trying to get a meeting with Eric at the History Center.
Yeah, I have an
'cause-
email out to him.
Yeah, and we talked before about his initial, excitement about this was that we would put signage around Village Square and make it sort of a tribute to, well, Singapore. And especially since the design of the playground is designed around the history of Singapore
idea.
too. So, perhaps we could start thinking of, some signage that then would be consistent with that too.
In RC, do we take it to historic then, since it'll be at Village Square instead of the pallet sign?
Yeah, technically they do have oversight over the site. If it's something that's temporary, I mean, I can bring it to, I can run it by the chair, the chair believes it's fine to be administratively. That way I can
Okay.
just go on there.
Okay, all right.
So if this is what you're thinking as far as go on the banner, then.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's, what, that's great.
I
That's
honestly-
Great, let's just do it.
Yeah,
But Ryan, we are talking about two separate things. So this would be impermanent just for until we build, and
Right.
then the Historical Society partnership would be long-term. Yeah,
Correct,
just
yeah.
like what's at Demarest and then downtown at, is that Coglin Park? Yeah,
so yeah,
Have that same kind of look, the,
I think so.
which I love.
We'll
I
see.
would- yeah,
But
I think
what
that's-
they're excited about is they have not done anything for children yet. So everything's been more
Awesome.
geared to adults. And so they were really excited about making it so it speaks to both and maybe doing like a little scavenger hunt or something
Awesome.
where they're going around the four quadrants of the square, that sort of thing.
I love that.
And the other thing I'm open to discussing is, Sally Winters was actually here for the SOAR analysis, so we talked to her a little bit. She's the one that did the
Mhm.
Demarest signs at Demarest.
Does a lot of
yeah,
work
yeah,
for the
yeah.
history.
And she does a lot of that, and I think she's really good.
I think she's
So,
great.
so we could, kind of see what that design is
Yeah.
too, and see if we could put it in or.
Creative.
Yeah.
But to be clear, RC, that's completely separate from this, is we
Okay.
just need something here for a banner to be able to put in the park. And so,
Mhm.
and I'm willing to like, I think
Go
this
with
looks
this.
perfect
I
and,
do too.
you know, let's, yeah. Let's see what's up and hang out on the QR code. We'll hang on to that 'cause I'm sure it doesn't mean anything right now.
It goes to the canvas.
Yeah.
And then, you know, this coming spring, when it look good on the computer, but when you printed it.
I
it'll
got
stick out. So-
Okay.
And if anybody has any other ideas for a tagline. shoot 'em on.
I'm all for hitting an easy button on something like a banner.
Yeah, I
especially as
just,
long as
I
it gets
like
the
it.
job done.
I like it. Yeah.
But I'm also not super creative. It'd be like, it is your birthday. Like. It's not my thing.
I
so,
like
yeah. What is the statement of fact? So, okay. So if we're all set on that, any further questions on Village Square? Good. Park Street and Mount Bald Head improvements. I
Well,
don't have anything.
I just got a little bit on Park Street. I'm grateful for the 2 3-way stops, so thank you with that. And I'm hoping that when they look at that, the Pyramid going to Oval Beach, that they kind of work in that chain ferry area too, because that's a dangerous place. We need to figure out crosswalks there, how we're gonna move people around, so we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone maybe with that. And also, I've been noticing those Douglas signs are up.
Those are nice.
They're pretty.
I just
Beautiful.
called Glenn about that.
And I'm just saying that I honestly believe, I don't know if we have a sign committee or something, but we need it. And we need something over there that when you come down the hill and you're entering into Saugatuck, you know what you're gonna see. You're gonna see Mount Bald, you're gonna see this, this.
0.2 miles, 0.4 miles,
Yeah.
turn left. Yeah.
And we are, live in this creative, beautiful world here. How can we have someone come up with a beautiful, creative sign that, and then maybe use it throughout? But I honestly think that area over there needs introduction when you
Yep,
come down.
yes, I would agree with that. 100%.
So, yeah, to second that, I think I called Glenn about it yesterday. I said, go take a look and see
They're-
what you think, because
they're
they're
sharp.
clean, they're crisp,
They're
they're simple, they're
bright.
inexpensive. They can
Right.
be changed out seasonally. If one gets ruined, this is not the end of the world. So
I think we have to add a little Saugatuck flair to it. We don't want to copy Douglas, that's for sure, but I
But-
do like them.
Yeah.
But I also like the idea of having some
I.
universality to
I do
wayfinding
too.
and making it consistent. 'Cause again, people are crossing the borders and don't know. And so to have
I
some
agree.
consistency, I mean, you can put a little flair.
Oh,
but I
no, we
think,
could
like,
put a
keep
flair,
it-
just a little bit, something to make it our own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I agree. And they're just putting them up on existing.
Oh, well, they're so
Efforts,
easy to
so,
read too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
So
they
that's-
are eye
I
catching.
agree.
They're
My
really
comment
nice.
about that, and then also, when we work with that, the Mount Bald Head, we gotta remember Park Street goes through it, and that safety factor of kids running and stuff. So, people have been talking to me about how they're so concerned about kids running around at Mount Bald Head. and I know we need to slow people down and they, on the north side, want people to go even slower going toward Oxbow. So it's a constant battle there, but when within Mount Bald Head, when we get together and work on that, or when you, let's really think about how we're gonna move that traffic through. I know that
Good point.
the engineers will do that, but let's have some ideas to slow people down to go through where kids are running and people are running in, and it's in like a parking lot that people are moving in, but also
Literally a parking
but
lot.
exactly, but people, but it's a moving street too, so we have to just kind of play around with that, so.
All right.
I have
Great.
a question. I'm not sure what's happening with AT&T and what they had committed to do, but how about the stairs? We talked about needing replacement and especially the deck at the top. Where are we on that? And, is AT&T, going to contribute to that or not?
I don't know,
Do we know?
Brian?
Yeah. So the answer is AT&T has not demonstrated an interest in repairing those steps right now. We're dealing with some other issues that are of higher importance. And so there's no current plans to replace the stringers and or the steps.
Okay, nor
Scott
for the
Herbert
deck at
can
the top.
add.
Nor for the deck at the top?
Yeah,
There
I'll
are-
add
there are
Brian's
some good-
comments.
Yeah, Scott Herbert can add to that.
Sure. Yeah, that's really one of the things that we're hoping to take away from, when we have this kind of initial Mount Bald Head kickoff meeting, I think we should have our engineer in that meeting with us. We do have some old plans that the city has paid for in the past. So, I guess in my mind, it's kind of an opportunity to dust off the old plans, see what we've already paid for, see what we like from those plans, what we don't like, get a nice variety of a group together.
Who's on that group? I mean, I know we could only have a couple people, but I really would like to be on the group. And I know I was kind of.
I don't know why that would be separate.
Well, so
Well, because we can only have so many people.
you don't want to have a quorum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want me to speak to that or?
Sure.
So Scott was initially putting it together with Scott Herbert, John Moxie. We needed somebody that's a radome,
Right.
expert. And so I asked Councilmember Gardner if he would like to join us, and he's enthusiastic
Perfect,
about
yeah.
it.
Perfect.
Member Cherick and member Road and myself. So I don't count putting us toward a quorum since I don't vote, but to have another member from our committee on it
Yeah.
would. So I mean, as long as you were comfortable being kept informed or whatever, then, but otherwise we would have to set up a whole other.
No, I'm okay with being kept informed, but I guess I also have ideas too. Of
course.
Because it does, I lived out there. So, I mean,
yeah.
it's just, so,
I think you'll certainly get chances to. weigh
yeah,
in
because I
on
mean,
it.
you're looking at those designs. I mean, we can,
Well, I'm sorry, Renee Zeta too. Yeah, and neglected her. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Renee Zeta was also.
Okay. I mean, we've got these designs. Let's work with them. I mean, there's good parts to them because I was looking at them, not so good on some parts, but
Yeah, and that's kind of one thing that I'm looking to take away from
Yeah.
and being involved in that meeting is, you could spend so much money on Mount
Oh, I
Baldwin
know.
Park. And so how do we break it down into manageable steps? And recommend to council, that, an exact plan of what that looks like. So
Mhm.
taking into consideration the historical component, with the radar group, love having them a part of the group. Then the structure itself, which to me is the stairs and the upper platform area, all one piece. And then restroom upgrades, using the existing footprint of the one that's there, the parking lot upgrades. And then, if it's up for discussion, if we're gonna kind of relocate certain things.
Right.
On the bottom level, at least, I've heard a lot of good ideas about it. One of them was to kind of try to, go all out and even try to move the pavilion over towards the
there's the water
riverside and then
side, yeah.
detour the road to go more westbound and hug the dune a little bit, and that would promote more activity towards the riverside, which also has a beautiful view.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of ideas out there, and I just want to get together and try to break it down
Yeah.
into manageable and financially feasible steps.
Plus we also have the museum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, to make it all cohesive, I think that.
gotta be
is
all-
really the
yeah.
goal. So when we talked about the 5-year plan, that is in there, is to try and make, because there's so many pieces to that. And right now, that's
They're
the way, it's like two
disparate.
parcels.
Yeah,
So
they're
how do we
disparate.
make it when we think about this one cohesive space so that people understand it's all one park, if you will, versus these individual pieces and people they're not all utilized or activated in the way that they could be.
No, and then, so breaking it down and which component of the park is the priority, step one, you have to have one. And people are gonna love it, people are gonna hate it.
Yeah.
But, having a group together to organize those thoughts and, the roadmap to move forward is gonna be critical, I think, to get this off the ground. I've heard for a lot of years working for the city, that Mount Baldhead needs work, but I think when you take a step back and look at it, you have to start somewhere. Otherwise, it's overwhelming and it's a huge financial burden for the city. That's not practical.
Well, not only we need the cohesive plan, but we also still continue with the maintenance, so it's a constant.
The stairs and the
Uphill
decking
battle,
is
yeah.
repairs and maintenance. in my mind.
And also to the other side too, to the museum side, those stairs and that deck, everything, it's a constant down there.
Well, the viewing deck. on the
Yeah,
outside
that's
too.
what I mean, yeah.
That's really utilized.
So,
So
yeah.
are the plans you're referring to the ones from Michigan State from way back or? is
Those
there a
are some of
secondary
them.
one?
Then.
Yeah.
Engineer
another
plans too.
I wish John Moxie was here. I think
Oh,
so, but I
was
don't
just looking
know.
at Those the other night, it was the John Moxie's plan, the engineering.
Okay, I don't know if I have those. I have the ones where it was a group of Michigan State
Yeah.
students that came together. They're really beautiful. I mean, they're really expansive plans. But if there's a second, of those, that would be great.
If there's a plan for the deck up top or a plan that includes that, I could use that ASAP.
The Michigan State one does, not, that almost became a boardwalk. Do you remember that one? That was like,
I don't remember. seeing
yeah,
that one,
I'll
so-
find that one.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Further questions, Mr. Herbert? Good, okay. As far as review next steps, my thing is we just keep on going. I mean, obviously with, especially with the due diligence stuff, I mean, airport and stop signs and all the things that we've got. Let's get rolling on that and I will follow up with the banner and in that, and whatever I have to do with historic on the trash cans, I will do that as well. At this point, I think we can move into public comments. I want to remind you guys that public comments are not a Q&A. It's a presentation. And I know that Mr. Butler has something he would like to present to us, if you would like to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, if you would please state
My
your
name is Ken
name.
Butler. I am a resident of Saugatuck Township and a member of the Saugatuck Township Parks and Rec Committee, basically your equivalent. This is a proposed lease for the dump site. I spoken to you prior to about it. I think I approached Ryan about a year and a half ago about it. And I forwarded him a EPA report. Since that time, the city has gone ahead and done a phase one review of the property, which, to my reading indicated that it's suitable for trails, but not much else because, the fact that it's a dump site and you start excavating for foundations or buildings, you're going to be disturbing the clay cap, which is now making the property safe for our use. So I'm here to give you this proposed lease. I'm not looking for any feedback tonight, just for you to take a look at it. I took it from a lease that was done between Ottawa County and Georgetown Township, where the county leased land to the township so they could build ball diamonds and soccer fields. So if you go find that lease, you'll find it very similar. And I give credit where credit is due. So the four reasons I think that you should look at it is number one, we have a real need in this community because our cross-country teams do not have a place to run. The Saugatuck Township has completed the trails at the dog park as far as a rough trail. It was used as a cross-country race. Successful. Sun shone that day. That was a nice touch. But I would have to add on the trail that runs through the dump site, which I took Kelly and Glenna on. I know Helen's been over there. And I think there to be had. So number one is there'd be no cost to the city. You guys have, and we've sat here for the last hour, talking about all the different areas that you're concerned with. This is something that the township would take on as its responsibility to clear the trails and make it safe for the schools. I've been working with the cross-country coach, Rick Power, and the school district as to what their requirements are. In the lease, it includes that whatever we propose to do, we'll bring it to you and say, we're to clear this trail and do an approximate map. So you guys always will know what's happening to your property. But it's something that could happen for the school district and give the high school kids a place to run. Number two is that where in the dump site property, there are open fields, I would like to look at once we lay down a trail where we can add in trees. Because it was very indicative from the Discovery Center that if you start planting additional trees, your carbon capture goes up. So it's something that we have the open space. Trees are not expensive. We could probably go to different groups and say, will you donate for a tree? Probably an easy sell. So our carbon capture would just go up. Third thing is, people who like to be occasionally recognized, public service is one of the most unrecognized and unthanked for professions or efforts you can get involved in. You folks spend hours looking at designs, being dragged across fields by township members, and then you suggest things, and then you come up with more ideas. So about the time that you were closing your down, there was this crazy city councilman in Baltimore who came up with the idea of the triathlon. Fortunately, the triathlon would involve the closing of a state road going up and over the freeway, required coordination between the city of New Baltimore Police, Chesterfield Township Police, Macomb County Sheriff's Department, and the Michigan State Police. I got all four. And they said, how are you going to be able to do that? Well, you work hard enough, it can be done. This is from 2018. Triathlon's been there for 33 years. And we still have to coordinate between the city, the township, the state police. The race brings in approximately 300 people on Saturday morning and has generated thousands of dollars that have been used for different public works within the city. Then what we did is that we nominated the triathlon to the Michigan Municipal League and won an award for a creative design. And I think that if you have a partnership between the city, the township, and the school district, that's something that's worth sharing with the rest of the state to once again looking at them and say, don't tell me it can't be done. It can be done. It was done before. We can do it here. The final thing that I ask you to think about is that I would enjoy nothing more than just standing on the hill overlooking the freeway with all of you and watch the young men and women running up the hill, cresting, and then flying down the backside. At that point, that is one of the best times to be in public service. You will know that I couldn't have done that. You couldn't have done that. Because we did it together, we made it happen. And the joy and the satisfaction of watching those kids' faces and the parents watching their kids and the grandparents cheering on Bill or Dave or Judy as she's closing towards the finish line. And then the real payoff is that you could get your picture on the front page of the local paper. You totally misquoted. So, I'm also here because, I was told when I first came up with this idea, some of the older members of the township said, well, talk to the city. Okay, I'll go do that. He goes, well, Prince of Jim Croce, don't tug on Superman's cape. Don't spit into the wind. Don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and don't try to negotiate with the city of Sunnyvale. I'm here, tug on your cape, because we don't tear the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and even I'm smart enough not to spit into the wind, so. Anyways, enjoy, read it. I won't bother you again. I will wait for if you guys are interested, or if that's something that can be negotiated, or your attorney will have an opinion, our attorney will have an opinion. It was drafted by attorneys, it was revised by an attorney, but it needs more attorney. So please let me know.
Thank you. I think we can all agree, we always need more attorney, don't we? Yes. And you would never know he's a litigator, by the way, right? So with that, I don't see anyone online that has any public comments. I will close the public comment session and we can go with member closing comments. If we can start at this end of the table, Nancy?
Just happy that so much has happened. I really missed the big thing that happened last month, it sounded like. But I did actually look ahead to December, and our meeting is scheduled for December 26th. I was wondering if that's the best day or.
I'm gonna look into it. I'll talk to Ryan and see if we can make accommodations or what needs to happen for that. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Thank you.
Yep, lots of good updates. I want to say that, yes, we did walk the property with Ken. And I'm remembering back when Rick Bauer presented to this committee, and very impressed with their cross-country team, best in the state, but they run on the streets. So I really think we should do something for them. It was proposed the airport property, and I never liked that idea. To put cross-country trails there. As I said last time, I think those should be low-impact hiking trails. But when Ken brought this alternative to our attention, I really loved it. And especially after going over there, it cannot be used for a building site. Not only is it an old dump site, but even around that, it's right next to the highway and it's too loud. So I think there couldn't be a better site. I think it's a great idea. I think we should move forward looking into it. I don't, some things we might want to consider. Does the schools have any funds to contribute to this? And then also when Rick was here, he talked about revenue sharing and what a big moneymaker it is for cross-country meets and other races that they have. And that it brought in more than football, if I understood right. So that might be something to also look at. If there is a lease, how do we share the revenue? Also.
Thank you.
So I also walked the landfill property with Ken, and I very much like this idea. And I had wanted to see how this would come together, because I'd been out for the cross-country meet for the middle school students and was super impressed with what they have done there. And I just wanted to see how they could interconnect those. So I encourage anybody who's interested in this idea to go out and see it for yourself, because it really does make sense how we keep kids completely off the road and the trails already exist. So it's a very low ask in terms of trying to put that in to kind of use that land at its highest value. The other comment I want to make in that everything that we've been doing, the SOAR analysis, the 5-year plan, conservation keeps coming up. And I know we had Ruth from the Land Conservancy here, and one of the things that came up is that we don't fully know exactly where all of our parks stand in terms of the level of conservation protections that we have. And so I know that's come up in conversation with a bunch of us. I've talked with Keith about it. So what I would like to do for next meeting is talk about maybe what the next steps would be with that and how we might want to tackle that. And then obviously work with the city and find out exactly what we have and how we should take a look at and because I feel like that really in terms of our role, my role as PPW is to really have an understanding of where we're at with each of our parks, and how we continue. I think that's part of the maintenance plan. That's it.
It was a good meeting, great updates, and my daughters were also runners, and I think that is a great solution. It was always our dream was to have a cross-country track here or a course here, and I think that's a great solution. So I'm all for it and looking forward to working on getting it done, so. And I hope everyone had a good holiday. And the
Thanks.
big one's coming up, so.
Do want to thank Ken for presenting and, I don't know how we get there, but I do agree that, it's something worth, looking into, whether it's through this agreement or whether we do something else. I mean, I know that things can get wonky when you're trying to, lease agreements. So anyway, it's something to consider, but I think that, again, we move forward with these things, however we get there, to connect the trails, to have cross-country. I can't think of any downsides to that. I know I'm biased on PPW, but that's my view and I'm gonna have it. So
Sticking with it.
exactly. I think we got a lot of good things in the works. I'm excited for it and just keep it on and we'll get somewhere. Thank everybody for coming. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I third it.
Motion DeYoung,
Yeah.
second Kimball. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Thank you, RC.
Not a problem. All right, we had some.